Okay, good afternoon. Thank you all for watching this video. Hope out of this video you'll get a better understanding of the special right triangles. Let's get started. Okay, first thing I want us to get started on is all the odd numbers. You're going to get those free today. All you got to do is watch this video and you get the free points for those. All right, so let's try out number one. Number one, the first thing I want you to see is that this is a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle, right? It's the first thing you want to spot, right? Which means that you can follow the order of the following. Let me just put it down in a quick example. All 45, 45 triangles could follow the notion of x, x, x square root of 2 every single time, right? Thus, if I see right here where it says problem number 3, right, it says 3, that means in this answer V is really 3, and U is actually then going to be, if X is 3, then this one's really 3 square root of 2. See, what happened here is you simply just bring this one and this one's the same. Those are the same exact sides there every single time. Those are always the same side. And then you're going to plug that 3 into that spot where it's X. See that? Really easy. Really easy. All right. Look at number 3. Now, number 3, this time, they give you the long hypotenuse side this time. So this time, it's not as easy as just saying this is square root of 2. But instead, this time, we're going to actually divide by square root of 2. Right? Here, we multiplied by square root of 2. And this bottom one, we're actually going to have to end up dividing by square root of 2. So if I want to figure out what these two sides are, I need to divide by square root of 2. So the answer for this one is 10 over the square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2. Over here, the same thing. 10 square root of 2. Then, after I have my answer here, I'm going to say divide by the square root of 2. So that's the ones for x and y. X and y's two sides are as follows. By the way, if you want to go even further, you could simplify it just by saying, you know what, that's the square root of 2, that's the square root of 2, that could cancel each other out. Right? That's the square root of 2, that's the square root of 2, cancel that out. Right? So each one of these is as follows. Y is 10, and x is also 10. All right, very good there. Very good. All right, let's move on. You could try out number 2, number 4 by yourself on your own time. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to try all these problems out as best as I can. Here's another problem. Once again, they give you the hypotenuse, right? If they give you the hypotenuse, one thing I could do is simply just divide by the square root of 2, right? So I'm going to say the square root of 6 divided by the square root of 2. This same also is going to be the exact same one. Square root of 6 divided by square root of 2, and it's that simple. Done. That's all they had to do. Divide by square root of 2. Don't forget the difference. When they give you the hypotenuse, you divide by square root of 2. If they actually would have ended up giving you, let's say, a leg, like this one right here, you would actually multiply by square root of 2, as you see that. Okay? All right. Moving on. Number 7, now this is a different because this is not a 45, 45, 90. This instead is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, right? 30, 60, 90 triangles. We learned about these, right? A 30, 60, 90 triangle does as follows, right? It follows the certain formula. 30 degrees, that's 60 degrees, that's 90, right? Then this we can call x. I could call this long side, the hypotenuse, 2x. And this medium side right here, I'm going to call it x to square root of 3. Right, x to square root of 3. So remember that. It's x, 2x, and x squared of 3. So in this problem, they actually give us x right away. They give us this small side right away, which is 9. Which means if I want to know what this long side is, it's as simple as just doing twice that, right? 2x, right? If this is 2x, then I'm going to say twice 9, right? Which is 18, right? That's what x is. X is 18. Now for the other one, I'm going to use this formula, x squared of 3, right? So I'm going to say x squared of 3. By the way, we know our x is 9, so plug that in. I'll get 9 square root of 3, and there's that answer. Y is equal to 9 square root of 3. Simple. All we got to do is grab it and plug it in. Try that for number 8, and you'll see it's pretty simple as well. Okay. Whoa. Here's number 9. bring it down a little closer for me. Number 9. On number 9, I want you to see that this time they give you the medium side. Now don't forget your formula. The way the formula goes is this side's x, the hypotenuse is 2x, and the medium side is x squared root of 3. This time they give you the x squared root of 3. So I'm going to put right here, this is x square root of 3, right? So to figure out the smaller side x, I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. Don't forget that 6 is currently the x squared root of 3. To solve for it, you do divide by the square root of 3. Right, so this one right here is currently, let me see here, 6 over the square root of 3. 6 over the square root of 3. I just simply didn't reduce it, right? Very good. So that's just simply divided, right? Now, for the other one, to figure this guy out, don't forget you're going to follow the formula for the longest side. You got to do twice the x, twice the smaller side there, which in this case scenario, the smaller side happens to be that guy. So twice the size of the smallest side, 6 over the square root of 3. All right, twice that, and there's your answer right there. All right, if you actually want to go even further, I could just say 6 times 2, right? 2 times 6, and I get 12 square root of 3. I want to reduce even further. Okay. Moving on. Take a look at here, number 11. Number 11, in the formula, right, that we look at every single time of a 30, 90 triangle, right, of a 36, 90 triangle where this is x, the hypotenuse is 2x, and the medium side is x square root of 3, right? We're looking at the longest side. We're looking at the longest side, 2x. So this is twice x, right? So twice x is 18, right? If twice x is 18, then x would be simply, if I solve for x, is 9. All right, so this side is 9, which makes sense because this side is twice as big as that side. You always want to make sure of that, right? That the small side is twice as big, the long side is twice as big as the smallest side. There you go. The long side is twice as big as the smallest side. Always want to see that, all right? And then to figure out the medium side right here, we simply, after we find out what this smallest side is, we're just going to simply multiply it by the square root of 3, right? Grab it and multiply it by the square root of 3. So this would be simply 9 times, right? 9 times the square root of 3. Simple. Simple. Okay, moving on. Okay. Wow, does this look exactly? That problem does look familiar. I don't know why. Okay. Once again, x, the longest side is always twice the size of x, and the medium side is whatever x is times the square root of 3, right? In this case scenario, they give you the longest side, right? The longest side, which is twice x, right? So to figure out the side of the smallest side, I'm going to say 2x is equal to 18, divide both sides by 2, I get x is equal to 9. That doesn't look familiar, right? That being said, this side then is 9. So if this side's 9, then all I got to do is simply just figure out, actually, yeah, this does look familiar. I think I just did this. 9 square root of 3, because that's the same thing right here. Yeah, I think I did do this one pretty good. Right? Yeah, I knew it. Okay, 13. Now 13 is a bit tricky because it involves 2 triangles. In fact, it's two exactly big triangles in this problem. Let's just see what happens here. The first thing to do to give you is this 9, which means if I want to figure out what these other 2 sides are going to be, I'm going to divide by the square root of 2, right? So I'm going to say 9 divided by square root of 2. This is 9 divided by square root of 2. See that? I'm not going to reduce that. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to keep on going, right? If I have this linked right here, I'm now going to say to figure out, well, these other 2 links, I got to do that even again. Because once again, if I'm looking at this triangle right here, right? The triangle right here being formed. I know that this is the hypotenuse, right? That's the hypotenuse. And if I want to figure out the two sides, I'm going to again divide by square root of 2. So this time I'm going to say 9 over square root of 2 and divide it again by the square root of 2. I'll let you figure that out later on the calculator. 9 over square root of 2 all over again square root of 2. All right? Actually, I just can't stand the way it looks like that, so I'm just going to solve it real quick. 9 over the square root of 2 all over the square root of 2, right? And actually, since this is two fractions and this is another fraction over 1, I could just say 9 over square root of 2. You don't have to, this next part's just for me, I'll be honest. This right here is already good enough. This is a good answer. I don't expect you all to be able to simplify radicals yet to your Algebra 2, but if you ever want to get ahead, this is how you do it. And if I'm saying this divided by square root of 2 over 1, then that's the same thing as saying 9 over square root of 2 times 1 over square root of 2, which is the same thing as saying, just go ahead and now across, that's 9 over square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. So the answer is 9 over 2. But once again, you didn't have to simplify. Either one of these answers works out fine. I'll give you credit for either or. So if you don't reduce, no problem. I don't expect you to be able to simplify radicals just yet. Okay? No problem. All right, moving on. Kind of messed it up there. Okay, number 15. Now, this is involved in the 30, 60, 90 triangle, where they first give you the medium side. Right? Now, this is going to be kind of tough because when you look at a 30, 60, 90 triangle, this one's x. This is always twice the size of x, and this is whatever that x is, right, times the square root of 3. Right? That's the one they give you in this problem. So 7 is currently the x square root of 3. So if I want to figure out what x is, I'm going to say 7 is equal to x square root of 3, right? And then I could just simply solve for that, which is dividing by square root of 3 divided by square root of 3. X is really 7 over square root of 3, right? So that side right there is 7 over square root of 3. Now I can already use this to get into our other triangle right here. So I'm trying to figure out that x. I could already use this to figure out the other triangle. And this again, once again, is the middle side. So since it's the middle side, I could just once again use the formula again to figure out what would this side right here be. So if that's right there, it's the same thing using the same formula. Is equal to x square root of 3. Once again, divide by square root of 3, divide by square root of 3. I'll get that x is equal to this big old giant thing, just like that, all over square root of 3. And if you look at the last example, a good way you can quickly simplify this to get the answer for that x is as follows. Look at the last example right here. This is what I'm looking at right now. Yep, thought so. Okay, going back to our problem. This is the same thing as saying 7 over 3. 7 over 3. Right? Right, think so. Making sure my work. Yeah, very good. Okay. Okay. Alright, so either answer is accepted. Reduced or unreduced. Unreduced, as you can tell, is very ugly, but, you know, so take it. You have your calculators available, I can understand that. Alright, number 17 is a mix of both. First, starting off with the 30, 60, 90, where they give you this one right here. Don't forget that if I'm looking at a triangle, the small side is x, the longest side is 2x, and the medium side is x square root of 3. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's using this formula right now. So currently, twice x is equal to x square root of 2, right, divided by 2 to solve for x. And I find out that x is really equal to 8 square root of 2 over 2. Right, that's what x currently is. X, which is currently the smallest side. 8 square root of 2 over 2. Now, if I want to figure out this medium side, I'm going to grab that x, right? And I'm going to just sub it in there, right? So I want to use now that formula out. That formula would be x square root of 3 is now equal to, actually I don't even have to plug it in. All you do is just grab it, plug it in there. All right, so now this right here, actually let me redo that. This right here is 8 over square root of 2 over 2, right, times this whole tail, times the square root of 3. Don't forget we're using this formula right here. We're just taking whatever's right here and we're plugging it in there and just multiplying it by square root of 3. So that entire side is 8 square root of 2 over 2 times the square root of 3. The last step is that we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and what we're going to do is we're going to figure out these other two sides. Since I had the hypotenuse, I could simply follow, since I have a hypotenuse, fix that a little bit. Right, I want to figure out these two sides. This is x, that's x, this is x square root of 2, right? And if that really is the same thing in that case scenario, if I want to figure out these, right, the answer for these, I simply just got to divide by my square root of 2, right? So I have this whole big old long of a mess, and I need to divide it by square root of 2. So I'm going to say divide by the square root of 2, right? So I'm going to say x is equal to 8 square root of 2 all over 2 times the square root of 3 all over the square root of 2. And there is your answer for that last part unreduced. All right. Real trippy problem, a hard one. And congratulate those who actually got this done without this video. And that's not too bad if you actually kept it to decimal form the entire time. All right. Well, but there you go. Half of the answers off of your homework. Hope you get these done, and hope you get a few extra done after you look at this video along with it. All right. That being said, have a good night, guys. Thank you all for watching.